All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back with more Sam Rockwell month. Tonight we're talking about 1999's Galaxy Quest. So, full spoilers if you haven't seen this movie. And also, if you're wondering where's Green Mile, we're gonna give Green Mile its own review someday. But Sam was fucking brilliant in The Green Mile, if you have not seen him in that. But let's talk about Galaxy Quest and what he did in this. So in this, let's just get Sam's stuff out of the way here before we just get into the movie proper. He plays Guy Fleegman in this. It's a really, really fun part for him to play because he gets to be the token red shirt guy. Or at least that's what he was when he was on the show. And now that he's been on the show, he now intros the cast at cons. And his life is, just kind of like everybody else's in this, except, he wasn't famous. He didn't get famous off it like the rest of them did. Now he's just kind of like a person who just keeps showing up. But how he gets to change throughout the movie as a guy who's afraid, once he's put in the precarious situation that he's in, how he changes from guy who's, just afraid of everything because he's the red shirt guy to the guy who lives and becomes courageous and is, willing to put his life on the line and stuff, and realizes he's just the plucky comic relief. And it's a nice arc for him, and it's a really nice role for him, and this is where he starts to blow up. This and Green Mile, and coming up you got Charlie's Angels, which we'll be reviewing next. As for the rest of the movie, Galaxy Quest is one of those weird movies that I don't like to put in just one category, because I consider it, I watch this and I go, this is a classic movie to me. They never really delved into, they've delved into Hollywood before, but they didn't meld sci-fi and elements of, what we're dealing with here with actors and things like that in space. We've dealt with actors having to pretend like being, confused with their counterparts, but not like this. And even though it has Tim, the guy who never, what's the term I'm looking for? He sticks to his brand. And even though I don't really enjoy Tim Allen for the most part, I really liked him here because it's kind of like putting a mirror up to, actors. And he's been known to have temper tantrums and stuff, but I guess we all have, right? In our jobs at some point. And if you haven't, then you're the luckiest motherfucker in the world. But, I did like what he gets to do in this. He gets to actually bring his kind of surrogate family back together that they've been kind of... it's sad that they are kind of like they're all their family. Like, this is what they got. They don't have, lives outside of this, it appears. They're all failed at, kind of life. And this is what they have. And when they finally meet the Thermians and get, sent to space to help them, with their problems, it's a chance for them to come back together as a family, to grow as people, to be the heroes that they played for so long. And it's just a fun movie. And there's some stuff that I take in this movie to heart, and things that I feel like are mirrored and can be used for today's thoughts on movies. It's pretty good. And I even though it's, I'm not going to say it's dated, but it's so positive and upbeat and everything that it may be a little cynical at the beginning, but that's just to get to the more positive stuff later. Normally that's not my bag. It's just, it doesn't, it's just nice, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. And so, yeah, Tim Allen, to me, gives his best performance in this. And come on, if you know anything about Tim Allen movies, not counting Toy Story, start ticking them off in your head and tell me which ones are really that great. Unless you're just a diehard, then fine. Fine, if he's your brand, more power to you. But I'm just telling you, he didn't take a lot of great roles. He didn't get a lot of great roles. It was just sticking to the Tim Allen brand. Sigourney Weaver, yeah, she gets to play kind of against type because she's known for strong female sci-fi characters, and this one is just kind of the sex object, the one who does a job that really anybody could do. And honestly, she still doesn't really get that much to do here. Just kind of realizing how much, the reality of, the show, the difference between the show and reality that they're facing. She just kind of keeps running from it and complaining about it, and that's fine. I just wish they would have given her more. And like, poor Laredo, like, I have to move this thing around just to get him in the shot because, again, his arc is pretty much ignored. There he is. See? There's Laredo. Like, he has a little bit of an arc about, learning how to refly the ship, but everything is kind of pushed to the side, and if that's not, like, still current, I don't know what is. The great Alan Rickman, who I still can't believe is not with us anymore. Fantastic as ever as the guy who won't break character. He's bitching the whole way, but he won't break character. And how he kind of learns to appreciate what his character has taught these Thermians. And how these Thermians are better people than they are, and they're just fucking octopus monsters. So, and I think that's something that they all learn, is that this may be a show, but the things that they were teaching people was positive, and it kind of helps going into later on in the movie where they're dealing with Justin Long's character, this person who knows more about the stuff than they do, which is a point I'm going to bring up here in a minute. And then you got Tony Shalhoub, who is just the opposite of Scotty, who is just so laid back and like chill about everything. And it's just fun to watch every kind of reaction that comes out of him. It's just so like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, that was crazy, And then he ends up falling in love with Missy Pyle's like octopus lady. And don't get me started on the tentacles and stuff. Like, there's some hentai shit about to go down in the world of Galaxy Quest. And then we get to, Sam Rockwell. I mean, look at, he's even got the fucking open shirt with the medallion over it. He looks great through the whole movie. He's so funny in this movie. Everything that's out of his mouth early on about just so fear of being dead and like paying attention to like, don't you guys watch the show? This is when I die. And so it's just all around. Everybody learns and the villain gets defeated, and, Tim Allen gets a cool line of, we're dragging mines, and blows the guy up, and the villain's not dead. In fact, the villain's not dead like a bunch of times at the end of this movie, if you think about it. And Tim Allen's character even really gets to save a whole bunch of people, even though they all think it's part of the show. And so and then it ends on such a positive moment. And while they could have mined this movie, I don't know how well it did. I seem to remember this movie doing pretty well. So I'm kind of surprised they never went back to the well on this, knock on wood. That hopefully they leave this alone. I don't think, especially with Rickman being gone now, I hope that they leave this alone unless they, 20, 30 years down the line, somebody makes a reboot, for what generation that would be about, I don't, or who targeted towards, I don't even know. Because like 20, 30 years from now, we're probably going to be fucking, I don't even, will we even be here? But anyway, let's see. I was going to, now that we've talked about that, we might as well put on the trailer. So this is, though, where I am going to talk about something that I thought was really interesting about this movie is when Tim Allen's character and Sigourney Weaver, they're stuck, right? They're stuck at the end and they don't know how to fix the thing. And so these characters who they run through their lines and they know like how to say things and look, and they make repeated certain movements and things so that they can fake it. But it's like knowledge with no context. And so who do they turn to when they're stuck, when they don't know what to do with the story / adventure that they're in is on? They have to turn to the fans. So they end up being able to call Justin Long and his, nerd friends that know more about the subject matter, and they get them out of the situation. The nerds, the fans saved the adventure, saved their lives, saved the show. And it just makes you think that, you know, if they could just figure out a way to utilize the fan bases for some of the things that are out there, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Marvel Comics, anything pop culture-y, Doctor Who, whoever's raging out fan-wise because they think everything is too woke or this or that and the other thing. If they just use the fan base a little bit better than they do, instead of just trying to crank out everything for the vanilla motherfuckers, maybe we'd have some better films. And I think that this is an unintentional byproduct of this movie that I took away from. And maybe it is because of how the climate is. But this movie was doing con culture before there was much of a con culture, or at least that people knew of. You know what I mean? That it was being talked about until like San Diego Comic-Con, which is like when this was getting big, right? When people were really starting to talk about fandom. Other things, you know, it was just kind of quiet. You never really... It wasn't really talked about still because we were still fucking nerds. And so I just think that that's really interesting way to look at it. If you guys think so, maybe you guys think I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe you think I'm being a pretentious douchebag. I don't know. All I know is that I think I stayed pretty coherent because somebody doesn't like how I review things and just say random stuff. So this was my answer to that. It took me 3 tries. To film this because I was trying to stay as concise as possible without saying too much random shit. Be a professional film student reviewer. I don't know what that was. But anyway, that's another Sam Rockwell movie out of the way. I'm glad I got to watch it again. I am having to rent some of these movies. So they better be worth making these reviews for. But, you know, otherwise, I don't know when I would have watched Galaxy Quest again. It's definitely not in my final viewing series. It's not in my... might be in a... yeah, I think this is an essential film series one, but I think I'm just going to leave this in its Sam Rockwell category or playlist for now. Anyway, if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying for the next Sam Rockwell month movie, we're talking about Charlie's Frickin' Angels. I was going to say fucking angels, but then I would have been like, no, we're not talking about a movie where a guy named Charlie fucks angels. But I think I just did it anyway. So, anyway, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.
Oh, that's not right. No.